from Portland International Raceway, Ben Schneider, Joe Sanriego, following the ARCA Menards Series West Friday. Right now, we have seen a pretty exciting day of practice for the ARCA Menards Series, and big surprise, Todd Souza, a very quick lap according to ARCA time and scoring. It just sort of has us a little bit wondering, do you think he could pull off that lap, or is it just something where some sort of timing glitch? Because it's just impressive.
Yeah, well, practice times, sometimes, when you compare them to qualifying, we see teams not always go all out and, run a mock qualifying lap there. So I don't know if Souza was maybe the only one to do that, but also I compared it to last year's pulsing time with Jake Drew, and it's still almost 4 seconds faster. He was fastest by 5 seconds in the practice session. So, with ARCA timing and scoring, it can be pretty limited in terms of what we have access to with the cameras and everything. So, really not sure what happened, but you almost wonder and think that he almost had to have cut some sort of chicane there or gained some sort of advantage. So, I guess we'll know for sure when we get to qualifying here in just a little bit, but a very impressive lap nonetheless if that time is actually legitimate. ARCA seems to indicate that he did set the fastest time. Whether or not that's the official actual time that he set, I guess is still the question there.
It's going to be the big question. Of course, qualifying will be coming up. We have 4 Xfinity drivers in this race. Cole Custer was the fastest one. When it comes to the Xfinity Series drivers and the practice speeds are we seeing, anything sticking out to you? Do you think they're going to be gaining a big upper hand advantage on the field for tomorrow's race?
Yeah, I think, I was a little surprised we didn't see that last year. Some of the Xfinity guys enter this race just to get a little bit more track time on the road courses. Custer certainly, I think, had the most impressive practice speed. Again, those aren't always indicative of what times they're going to lay down in qualifying and certainly in the race. But, I would certainly expect Custer and Herbst to be contenders out there as well. Retzlaff and Sieg, I think, are certainly still trying to gain as much experience as they can here in a race like this. But you never know, they could be up there competing for top 10 or top 5 as well. But we've got a pretty stacked entry list, a little bit bigger than last year with 24 cars. So certainly going to be some pretty good competition, even beyond just those Xfinity guys that are out here trying to get more laps for the race weekend.
Now, one of the big things with that big field, we know we're going to have a caution around lap 28. Whereas in the NASCAR Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, we have a stage caution, no guarantees for a caution for incident. Here, we seem to have quite a lot of incidents, especially last year when it was wet and rainy, but even the dry weather. Do you think even if someone has a poor qualifying effort, they could still leapfrog the field through cautions, or do you think qualifying is going to be even more important, especially it's a hot, sunny day here? You can't really bank on wet weather rolling in and making it chaotic out there.
Yeah, the forecast is certainly much better than it was last year, so we can all be thankful for that. I think track position, it really depends on what car you're in. If you're somebody like William Sawalich and you get shuffled to the back during the race or during the start of the race, I think that the car that he's in, the equipment that he's in, he certainly has enough time to make up for that and work his way back up through the field. If you're somebody for a lesser funded team or a team that doesn't have as much sponsorship or equipment advantage compared to a car like Sawalich's with Gibbs or the Bill McAnally Racings of the world, I think if you got good track position, it's going to be in your best interest to do everything you can to stay up there, and that's going to be very important going all throughout the race. So, I think like I said, it's going to depend on who we're talking about and where and what point we're at during the race. But of course, every racing driver wants to have track position if they can get it. So I'm sure qualifying is going to be very important for everybody in the field.
And you mentioned the sunshine. It is just beautiful out here. We've seen a good turnout right here in Portland International Raceway. It's really exciting to see some of the famous Portland food trucks, Portland gears out here with the racing theme, swag, and of course all the merchandise. And right now the drivers, they're signing autographs in the autograph session. Overall, last year we had a big crowd out here. Today is just ARCA, but we're still seeing a pretty good-sized crowd. How impressive is it? Especially we've been hearing people talk about the Pacific Northwest, the number of race fans here that were off to a pretty good start when it comes to at least attendance and some of the actions we're seeing.
Yeah, it's great to see so many people out here today, especially considering the Xfinity cars don't get on track till tomorrow, and that's kind of what's billed as the main event here. But still great to see plenty of ARCA fans out here, and it's great for NASCAR to be in this market. I think this is a market that was missing from the schedule for many years. The Nova Truck Series did some races here at the turn of the century in the late 90s, and I think one in 2000 was the last time before NASCAR's come back here, but we've seen them in this area. So it's a great track and great facility, and great to see so many people out here supporting the race weekend, and hope to see even more tomorrow for the Xfinity race.
And of course, we'll be back later with more coverage of the ARCA Menards series throughout the day. Then tomorrow, we're going to be here again for the Xfinity series. Plus, don't forget Grid Live pre-race, where we're going to preview Formula One, Formula E, a busy race weekend that includes NASCAR and IndyCar with their split road, pit road, which is going to be really interesting. But be sure to subscribe. Hit that bell icon, the subscribe button on YouTube. Don't miss any of the action. We'll see you later on today.